Okay, let's talk about the last year, because this is supposed to be, what do we call it, the State of the Union address, I guess. And in this case, it is kind of the State of the Union address. What's happened in the last year since we've been here? Last time, we had Obama stickers all over the place. We were pushing the election, and we got the guy we wanted, and the guy we endorsed as president. We won the majorities of the Senate. I think, depends on the day-to-day thing kind of with the Senate. We're supposed to have Barbara Boxer here today, and she's still in Washington because of the health care debate, and we have a majority in the Congress. President Obama has done some good things for us. He's changed a lot of the onerous regulations. The last two meetings you heard me complaining about how the Bush administration was putting restrictions on unions, making it harder for us to operate, more expensive for us to operate, burying us in paperwork. And luckily, the Obama administration has eased some of those regulations and restrictions on us. They've made it much easier. That's helped us. He appointed a Secretary of Labor from the Los Angeles area, Aloise, that her father was a Teamster Union member. She understands what unions are about. I met with her in Oakland a couple weeks ago along with Antonio Christian, and she gets what's happening to us. She's going to help us. Whereas for the last 8 years, the Department of Labor took us apart, tried to destroy us, did everything they could to get rid of unions, and she's going to help us come back. That's a good sign. The chairman of the National Labor Relations Board is an ex-Teamster attorney, somebody that I kind of grew up with and have known for 35 years, and she represented Local 853 when I was an organizer for the local in organizing cases before the National Labor Relations Board. Now she's the chairperson of the National Labor Relations Board. So we can pick up the phone and call that person and say, hey, we're getting screwed here, give us a hand. So those type of contacts and those type of things that the administration has done have helped us. They're kind of invisible, they're not real flashy, but it started to give us back some of the things we need to continue to grow. What hasn't happened is we haven't gotten any legislation passed that we need. Healthcare. Our main legislation, as you saw by this video, was the Employee Free Choice Act. That's what unions wanted. That's what Obama promised us he would get passed through Congress. We're still waiting. Not really his fault, because there's other things that have to get done. But I've been in a number of meetings in Washington, D.C. What this legislation will do for you as union members, you're thinking, well, I'm a union member already. What does I need that for? Well, you need it so that we can protect your jobs. We can go after the competition that's non-union that competes against your employers and helps undermine what we do. If we organize everybody in an industry, and ready mix, although isn't completely organized, in the Bay Area, we've probably got most of it, it allows us to bring everybody up because they're competing against the same wages and benefits, and they're not having to compete against somebody that pays $2 or $3 or $4 an hour less for doing the same thing that you do. So getting EFCA passed is urgent for us to protect your jobs. It's very, very important. So that legislation we keep hearing right after health care, right after health care, right after health care. So health care looks like it's maybe going to get through Congress today as we speak. They're voting on it. And if that happens, they'll work with the Senate to consolidate the proposals and maybe get those health care package passed. Now, it isn't what I thought it should be. It's not going to be what I thought it should be. But any health care reform is better than none. And we need to get it moving so that we can change it, so that it will help us in the future maintain our health plans. I mean, when you read about Cadillac health plans, and some of these Republicans wanting to tax Cadillac health plans, they're talking about the plans that the majority of you are covered under. And they're talking about union plans. It's a veiled threat against unions. They're not saying union plans, they're saying Cadillac plans, because that's what our plans are. to everybody else in the country. If you don't think your plan's adequate, walk up and down the street and ask some of your neighbors how much they're paying for theirs and what type of coverage they have. Our health care plans are the best in the country. But we have a threat of losing those if we don't get some health care reform passed. Hopefully that gets done. The bill I think is most important is pension reform. I've been back and forth to the East Coast 10 times to speak to Congress about pension reform. We have the biggest pension plan in the nation, in the Western Conference of Teamsters. It's probably one of the most secure in the country. But we've got some issues, just like everybody else. Last year, the average pension plan or endowment in this country, both public and private, lost 31% of their assets because of the start bond. Think about that. Almost a third. The Western Conference, well, we only lost 21%, you know. So we were better by 9% than everybody else, but we still took a major hit in the stock market. This year we're up about 15%. But we've got to have legislation to give us time to build this back, and we're working on it. And pension reform is important because without pension reform, major league pension reform, we're going to all be working until we die. Because we won't be able to retire and enjoy our life and our life's work unless we get some of this legislation passed. And we'll all be fighting for those jobs at the Walnut Marts we're trying to prevent from being built here. So it's important that we get this legislation passed, and it's important that we participate in it. This is a long-winded pitch for Drive again. And you've got those cards on your seats. Don't just warm them up with your butt. Pull it out from under your seat. Fill it out, and please hand it in. Because $1 or $2 a week, you know, we all piss that money away one way or the other. And this will help us have the influence we need. So, you know, Mayor Sandoz is right. Anything that happens in San Leandro, we can call him and get done, get stopped, get our employers doing it rather than non-union employers. That type of control is important, but we need to be able to do it with Drive money because we can't use dues money for that. It's unlawful, illegal to use dues money. That's you know, corporations can use their money all the time to make donations. We can't. We're restricted. So your voluntary contributions are what makes a difference. So please fill out those cards and hand them in. Hand them to the end of the row or whatever. It's very, very important.